Hello everyone, this is Bob Treemore. Peloton's Meh-xecution isn't working. And this has nothing to do with the country just south of the United States. What are you talking about, Bob, when you're talking about Meh-xecution? Well, there's good, there's bad, and there's meh. That's what we're talking about. I was on Twitter, that's where I hang out, on Twitter. And I was having a conversation about a stock. This is probably a couple years ago with a good friend on Twitter. And we're comparing, is it good, is it bad? We don't know. Good execution, bad execution. And, and I told her, I said, this is kind of like a meh-xecution. This is Meh-xecution. So to put it a little finer point on it, I had in eighth grade, I was taking algebra or pre-algebra, who knows. And Mrs. Rand was my teacher. God bless Miss Rand. Miss Rand was, there was only about 15 students in the class. And she knows my performance, and she knows I'm decent at math. And she probably studied me like teachers do when you only have 15 students. And something ticked Miss Rand's head. One day she came over and she laid an Architectural Digest book down. I'm like, Miss Rand, what are you doing here? And she says, Bob, I'm watching you. And I think architecture is in your future. Well, I never became an architect. But I think about this moment and Miss Rand very often. Maybe I should have been an architect. Maybe that was the right path I should have took. Maybe I wouldn't be here today talking about Peloton as an investor and as a member. If I'd taken Miss Rand's advice and become an architect, maybe I'd be in Philippines designing massive resorts. Who knows? But I'm here with you today. And so I've got architectural examples of what we're talking about when we're talking about Meh-xecution in relation to Peloton. This is good execution. This right here, this thing's a thing of beauty. Look at that thing. Someone knew what they were doing when they were designing that. Poor execution. The Weasley household was not designed nor built well. It violates all building standards, codes available in any community. Any community. And then we have meh. This is meh. There is nothing inviting. There is nothing revolting. This is just simply, it's kind of there. It's got a roof. It does have a door and a couple windows, but I got to be honest with you. This is neither what I don't want nor neither what I want. This is something that it exists. That's Meh-xecution. And that's where we're finding Peloton today. They are Meh-xecuting. They are Meh-xecuting well. They are Meh-xecuting to the fullest of their abilities at Peloton. Now, I'm not making a broad statement on all the hardworking employees. I know there's a lot of folks over there who are showing up today just excited out there wazoo to do their job and to do it with excellence. But the company, the entity of the company, is Meh-xecuting. That leads us into, I think we've got 4 or 5 of these segments. And usually I spend a few minutes on my videos going through kind of one topic-ish in depth. We're going to breeze through a whole lot of stuff today. We're going to skim the surface to kind of see where we're at, where members are at, where certainly investors are at. Promises given, promises kept. To do this, we got to look at the CEO. And seems like I always do a little bit of background. There's a lot of words here. Let me catch the highlights here. This is Barry's onboarding screed. When he came on board, both through press releases and through a memo to all nearly 5,000 employees at that point. These are what he intoned to those individuals, as well as to Wall Street. Barry is very cognizant of Wall Street. What he's doing to appease Wall Street, I don't know. If you know, let me know. But I don't know what he's doing to appease Wall Street, because he is neither appeasing Wall Street nor is he appeasing members. We're doing meh. This is where we're at. We're doing meh. So when he came on board, his screed. I was going to skip over here. When I was bringing back up these quotes, I had to laugh at this one. February 2022. I plan on leveraging every ounce of John Foley's superpowers as a product, content, and marketing visionary. Now, I'm not going to talk bad about John Foley, and I'm not going to talk about bad about Barry personally. I've never met the man. As we'll see later, he does not engage with anyone outside of Peloton. So we don't know. But I don't think anyone can deny that John Foley had a vision. John Foley had a vision, and he executed. He well executed against it. He wanted to build the world's first connected fitness machine, and he did it. And people were excited about it. But Barry's saying, Barry, I'm stepping into this chair, but John's not going far. Well, where did John go? John apparently is still not consulting with Barry, because John went ahead, and this is a real article. John went ahead and founded a rug company with some other ex-Peloton employees he took under his wing. That's where John is. And I think if we looked at Peloton over the last 2 years, year and a half, Barry's been there roughly a year and a half. I don't think there's anything Foley-esque in the last 18 months we've seen. So it was good mouth service to the employees, not to, what do you call it, when the boat rock the boat, not to rock the boat. We're going to keep on steady course here. John is in my back pocket if I need him. I'm going to try to get some of his visionary assets and marketing assets and bring them in. Oh, remember John's Foley marketing assets were terrible. He probably just hired the wrong person, but oof, they were bad. What else do we have here? Do we squander the opportunity in front of us, or do we engineer a great comeback story of the post-COVID era? We're not there yet. And that last word of that sentence, yet. Every day that goes by makes me want to remove the yet entirely. I said, we're not there yet. Every day I wanted to say, we're not there, period. And the sentence ends. Because I'm not sure we're going to get there. We're not going to see this great comeback story of the post-COVID era. I want to see it. Investors want to see it. Members want to see it. Hopefully, people who are unfamiliar with Peloton, their potential future members, would like to see it, even though they don't know about it yet. But this is not a comeback story of the COVID era yet. And then this thing down here. This is, Barry worked for Netflix, Barry worked for Spotify. Barry is adept at corporate speak. I'm tempted to read through all of these. You're sending this to executives at Peloton. You're sending this to mid-level engineers at Peloton, to customer service people at Peloton, and to hourly people at Peloton, stuffing apparel into packages and shipping them out. This has a broad spectrum, and this is what Barry prominently put in his memo. And tell me if this speaks to your heart, unless you're a corporate executive in C-suite. Then it probably does speak to your heart. But be stubborn on vision, flexible on details. Fast is as slow as we go. We're going to see a return to some of these here in a second. Intuition drives test. Data drives decision making. Your comfort zone is your own worst enemy. Was this one of those books that you take on before phones? I'm old enough to remember taking a visit to the Porcelain Palace, and I did not have an internet-enabled device with me, so we had to read those books that were sitting on top of the toilet paper roll. I think some of these quotes are from that book. great quotes you want to use when you're moving up the ladder and you're chasing mice with cheese or whatever. Talent density is foundational. Okay. Stress, context, not control. Freedom and responsibility. I have a college degree. I have an MBA, and I'm currently seeking another degree right now. I gotta be honest with you. This stuff is not ringing with me. I don't know what's going on here. Understand in order to be understood. Is there another way? Get real. That's probably he should just put hello, new employees. Get real. Barry McCarthy. See you on the floor. What is this? That doesn't even make the toilet book. That did not make the toilet book. Not even the back cover. Think from the first principles, of which are not named. So I don't. Are we talking about disciples? I don't know what that is. Put first things first. Again, that did not make the toilet book. Oh boy. So we're gonna go into year 2. And a couple of these I have not. You guys don't need to watch my other videos if you don't want to. But I've done videos on a lot of these topics where that's where I spend my entire time. And on here, I did a year 2 Barry. Let's keep going with Barry. This was an onboarding screed. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry McCarthy, and density is foundational. Okay. Barry's first year, and then we're going to go in Barry's second year. Barry's first year, I have given him good marks on Barry's first year. Peloton was in a derriere load of trouble. Excuse me. Things were not going well at Peloton headquarters, New York, New York. They're still not going great. But this is what Barry did. He did degradation of costs, not innovation of product. We knew he was going to do degradation of costs. And we were all for that. Wall Street was for that. Members, to their own benefit of not losing this Peloton platform, were for it. And certainly all employees at Peloton were for it. Do degradation of costs, and then let's just launch ourselves into innovation again and just regrow the company. Start the growth path again, anew. So what did Barry do year 1? Largely shuttered manufacturing. Let third parties do it. There's some caveats to that. That's why I say largely shuttered manufacturing. Significantly decreased the retail presence, and I tweet monthly about how many stores are open versus closed. We're now just about, since Barry came on board, they have decreased their retail showroom presence by almost 50%. They had about 120, and now they're about 60. So they have done deep cuts, so it's taken them 18 months to get out of those leases or to make decisions on which stores to close. But 60, I think is still too many. I feel for the showroom employees. I wish all of them had kept their job, and I hope all the current folks keep their job. But at the same time, I'm wondering if retail presence is really something that Peloton needs to do, and should they continue to get themselves out of these leases. And in July, today is August 1st, in July, they actually closed 0 stores. It's the first time in like 18 months they've done nothing. They closed 0 stores, and we're still at, give or take, 60. To be honest with you, probably don't need more than 5 or 6. Maybe a dozen? Well, if you international, that UK, Canada, Australia, a dozen would be good. And the 2 New York studio and the London studio, 14. Get them in flagship stores, flagship top quality stores in major markets: Miami, Chicago, New York, LA, London, Sydney, and you're done. But we're still at 60. That is still a lot of overhead and a hit to the balance sheet. Income statement. Fast. He did fast. Oh, he shuttered Peloton Logistics. The trucking, the vans, all that stuff shifted off to third parties. Let third parties control it. That is not our area of expertise. We are not subject matter experts in logistics. Thank goodness they came to that realization. John Foley should have come to that realization. This was something should have been discerned a long time ago, but Barry yanked the plug out of the wall. I mean, just I should have put a date on that one, but within the first few months, yank right out of the wall. Logistics is gone. We're not doing it. No, thank you. Good call, Barry. Good call. His baby Fast. He loves to talk about Fast, which is bike rentals. I kind of loop the pre-owned bikes. It's the CPO certified pre-owned bikes, the used bikes, kind of in this, but it's technically, according to his definition, it's not. But Fitness as a Service Rent a Bike. He says this has been. He and Liz, the CFO, say this has been remarkably successful, and they say percentages. And I wish analysts would call them out on the percentages. The percentages they're giving are bizarre, like 30, 40%. And I got to be thinking it's 30 or 40% of a subset, not of the whole. I don't understand how theoretically wildly popular FAS is. If it is, great, but we also know churn is much higher when you're renting something and can cancel any time than it is for a full-time member who purchased a $2,000 bike and put it in their house. Renting it for $80 a month with your included membership is something different. You just cancel it anytime. They come by, pick it up, and it's gone. Woo. I wish analysts would drill Barry and Liz on FAS because the numbers just don't make sense to me. They just don't. He did launch the row, though in utter transparency, I think to everyone, the row was rumored and even beyond rumored, saying it's coming soon in the John Foley days. So he's inherited that. So he launched it, but all he did not go to the store to buy the present. John Foley bought the present. He didn't wrap the present. John Foley wrapped the present. He did not put a bow on the present. John Foley put a bow on the present. The only thing Barry did was put the to from card on. That is all Barry's. That's all Barry did. He partnered with eBay and Dick's. Dick's, he knew he was going to start shuttering retail showrooms. He says, I got to have a retail footprint somewhere, or at least someone told him that. Got to have a retail footprint somewhere, so I'm not going to use my employees in my stores. I'm going to use someone else's employees in someone else's stores. My question to you is, if I did not have Dick's on this screen, would you have even remembered about this partnership? How many of you go to Dick's? How many of you seen a Peloton? And how many of those, how many have said, that's a fantastic idea, that product placement and everything is just perfect. This Dick's partnership was a win-win-win. I see the reasoning. I question the return. Because we've heard boo about it. No one talks about Peloton and Dick's. And we have eBay. eBay started in Germany for used bikes. It's kind of migrated itself to other areas, UK, and now fairly recently, America, where you can buy a used bike on eBay. Again, he wants to use other people's labor, other people's logistics, other people's warehouses to send these reconditioned bikes out to folks and to have another channel, omni-channel. That's actually, instead of architecture, that's what I did. I did omni-channel logistics. Went with eBay. The question is, do you have any stronger familiarity with eBay and Peloton than Dick's with Peloton? I'm going to put myself in my shoes and your shoes and say your answer is probably not. Your familiarity is low. It's meh. No, it's actually poor. You have poor recognition of those three names together. And numerous rounds of layoffs, certainly. And these are largely good. Barry did a nice job year one, I think. Some of these things are not pleasant to talk about, but they had to be done. And Barry went in there with his get real attitude and first think about first things first, and it's better to be understood than to understand, and all that gobbledygook that what we saw earlier. And he said, all right, notwithstanding my memo and your lack of understanding of my brilliance, we had a good year one. And Barry, I tend to agree. And then I made that video that I highlighted earlier. And at the end of that video, I think I made this at the end of last year or something. I said, Barry did a great job year one, or as good a job as anyone could wish. But year two, man, I got questions whether this is the guy who can make year two happen. Cost cutting was for a former CFO of Netflix, for a former CFO, we got some lightning out here, of Spotify. This guy knows how to spin the coins. But can he drive a consumer-focused device company, content company? He knows content. Can he drive it? Can he drive the innovation? Can he drive the excitement? And in that video, I was like, hoping for the best. Barry, give you marks on year one. And when I made this video, I said, Barry, best of luck to you, buddy. I'm rooting for you. And I was. At this point, it's hard to say I am because we're in July. We're in August. All right, back to Barry's first year. We did that. Oh, numerous rounds of layoffs. I wanted to show one screen to you. I think you'll get a kick out of the screen. If you're still here, I hope you're still here. What are you going to do? Skip around using the timeline. You missed this point. You missed this very important point, you skippers. Numerous rounds of layoffs. Let's look at the employment data of Peloton. Now, before I use this, I'm going to show you LinkedIn data that I've been tracking for over 2 years. It's got Peloton and it's got all the other connected fitness companies. I think you're going to be surprised. Now, these are LinkedIn data. This is not corroborate what they kind of officially say each quarter, or when they choose to say we have 3,267 employees. This is LinkedIn data, so there's a bit of lag there because LinkedIn's not an official reporting source. So LinkedIn, what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is what LinkedIn is. But the fact is all these companies are using it in the same fashion. So trend-wise, Apple uses it just the same way as Intel does. It's just the way as Amazon does, just as way as eBay does. So on LinkedIn, they're all kind of sort of the same thing. And Peloton and the other connected fitness are sort of kind of the same thing. They may not be accurate to the decimal of what's actually happening in the four walls, but the trend is accurate. Let's go. Let's not waste any more time. Here we are. They laid off. Keep in mind, they laid off a lot of people, and you see that. The hump is in the peak. This is peak sales of Peloton. And Barry came on and we went from, I'll say 3,500 to over 5,000. And now we're getting back to 4,000. This graph is not to show, to prove that Barry let some people go. This is to show where Peloton is at 4,000 LinkedIn employee profiles versus everybody else in connected fitness. Everybody else. The next highest is iFit. And they're at 1,800. The next highest is SoulCycle. And they're at like 900. And then we go to Tonal, who's hovering around 400 to 500. I think his last count was like 460. And then we've got all these other guys. And some of these you may not have strong familiarity with it, but these are the players. Someone in this chart has a nearly 10, if not 20x, exponential, 10 times the employees as other companies in the same market segment. So anyone who's congratulating, patting themselves on the back and say, we went from 5,000 employees to 4,000 employees, sad for the employees, but great for the company. And we did a lot of hard work. Peloton still has 4,000 employees. The next highest has 1,500. What is going on? Why does Peloton need this many employees compared to their competitors? Either their competitors are way understaffed or Peloton is overstaffed. What is that inflation? Where is that work product? We're not getting any new hardware. We're getting minor feature bumps. What are these folks doing? And like I said, I'm not questioning the work ethic of individuals. I don't know these 4,000 people. I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm not slamming anybody. I'm slamming this graph, though. This is not right. Good, meh, poor, poor. Poor, 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 poor. Bad. Wow, as they say in Chinese. We're finally getting to Barry's second year. Barry's second year. Fast is as slow as we go. Your comfort zone is here. I told you we'd run into these again because they're nonsense. I don't know what they are, but apparently they play into Barry year too. He killed the strength platform. We'll touch on that here in a second. If you don't know what that is, we'll touch on it here in a second. Minor feature bumps to the app. They're playing with different kind of collections. They're playing with different programs. If you're familiar with Peloton class structures, you kind of know what these are. They added the gym modality and tread lane break. That's over 18 months. That's what they've done. So they use the first cost cutting. Let's say they did absolutely nothing. What those 4,000 employees did during year one while Barry was cutting costs, I don't know. But the engineers went back to work year two, and now we're getting some minor collections and programs and gym and they went back to work and they gave us those. The thing is, those are not bringing in new members. Those are making existing members slightly happier. That does not grow a company. Making existing members slightly happier does not pad the checkbook. Padding the checkbook is bringing new folks in. They did a rebranding, lots of stuff. And in celebration of the rebranding, you'll see they went to an obnoxious color palette, and I have adjusted my presentation to have equally obnoxious colors. The red and black paradigm was apparently not good enough for them. They wanted to go to these fluorescents because someone they hired told him that everyone in Central Florida loves fluorescent branding. And apparently they didn't ask me because I probably would have given them a different answer. So they went through rebranding. So year two, killed the platform, minor feature bumps. They're talking, maybe small, but if you follow Peloton news closely, there seems like they put something on Instagram that they're going to start releasing bikes in different color combinations instead of just black. So it goes with their rebranding color palette. Now they're getting a bike color palette. Again, is that going to bring in a potential member who's riding on the fence or not even near the fence? And they said, but sir, but ma'am, you don't understand Peloton. Your bike will arrive in either black or taupe. Huh? Yeah? You can sign right here. Yeah. Went from a red logo to a black logo, and they've got this obnoxious color palette. Peloton Anywhere, anyone, anywhere, which is more or less this just rephraseology of John Foley's original mission statement. He did app tiering. I'm not going to go into that. There's a whole video on that. I didn't put a little icon from that video, but I did a whole video on Barry instituting app tiering. He added recently, while you ride your bike, you could do Netflix, Hulu, YouTube TV. He added that to the platform. Peloton as a platform, the software, operating system. He personally went from a salary from $1 million to 1.25 in year two, so good for him. Sadly, he lost tens, literally, when he signed the contract to come into Peloton. Year two was going to look like, baby, I'm going to retire well. He had tens of millions of dollars worth of stock options. Where the stock is now, around $9, $8, $9. Those are worthless. So he's going to have to live off his 1.25 million, his $250,000 increase this year. And there's fewer lawsuits. Foley was a magnet for lawsuits. He was a magnet for lawsuits. And it honestly just wasn't him. It was that Peloton was the big guy on top of the mountain, and everyone was throwing rocks at the big guy at the top of the mountain. It would happen in any segment. Throw rocks at the top player. And Peloton got pelted and pelted and pelted and pelted with lawsuits. I will say in year 2, though a lot of these are not fantastic. They're pretty meh. Should I do that? Meh. At least there's fewer lawsuits. One of the reasons there's fewer lawsuits is he actually settled some. We had the seat post thing just recently. That was actually a newer one, but it got quickly resolved. $8 million plus. They originally forecasted $8 million to the cost of Peloton to replace all these seat posts, and then all of a sudden, their expectations of who wanted seat posts to be replaced was not where they thought it'd be. Way more people wanted replacement seat posts than they expected. So it's going to be far more than 8 million. I wouldn't be shocked if it was at least double 8 million. The consumer, the tread thing, we all know about the tread thing. They sent a bill to Peloton for 19 million for that episode. And Dish, there was the digital bits that flow back and forth between your Peloton and headquarters. That was a patent infringement on Dish, and it looked like the judge was going to side with Dish, and Peloton could have strung it out, but Barry has self-proclaimed, admitted, confessed that he said, I'm just going to pay the $75 million and let it go away. So these are settled. These are out the door. So good. Let's go to the next topic du jour. Whassup? We changed our fluorescent palette color to whatever color that is. These are some Whassup that have been languishing in the background that I would like updates on, that I don't feel are being pressed in Barry Year 1 or Barry Year 2, or frankly, I'm not even optimistic they'll be addressed in Barry Year 3 if Barry Year 3 exists. That's not to say he will be released. We're going to get to something on that in a second, or at the end of the presentation. But these are items that I have active questions on, and are they ever going to be addressed? One Wellness is Peloton's umbrella nomenclature for servicing the hospitality industry, the insurance partnerships, and corporate wellness partners. They recently did something with YMCA, so all the YMCA employees and United Healthcare employees have a discounted path through UHC or through YMCA to get Peloton equipment or to obtain Peloton memberships to the app. Peloton's one wellness page. This is a minor trifle on my part. It's just a few words, and it says, all right, send us an email, and when we get around to it, we'll contact you back. This is so lame. This one wellness program, the branding hasn't existed for long, but the wellness operations at Peloton, since they partnered with, they sort of kind of bought out a company called PureFit, who did wellness. That was what they did, and they sort of kind of did a talent acquire of PureFit. 3 years ago, should have brought that into here. And this is still where we're at. They list a handful of companies on their webpage. They've got this thing where, don't contact us, we'll contact you if we so decide to. Put the obligation on the person asking. And say, we don't hear about wellness, is my point. I want to hear about all the Blue Cross Blue Shields, all the United Healthcares, all the YMCA employees, all the Intel employees, all the Apple employees. Well, Apple's not going to do it, but Amazon employees who are getting discounted memberships to either Peloton equipment or the discounted memberships, which I just said. And I did a video on it right here. Peloton membership is done. Wellness is dead. We hear nothing on this. It's kind of like the Dixon eBay of Peloton retail. Where wellness is, no one knows because they don't talk about it in analysts. Analysts, if you're watching this video, hopefully you'll be taking notes every so often when I call you guys out. Ask about this. This is one of their few growth paths they have ahead of. They have saturated, or America is saturated, and the UK and Germany and Australia and Canada. The TAM has seemingly been exhausted in all of those regions for consumer bikes, consumer treads, consumer rows. They have very few growth paths left. This is not saturated. This is an open playing ground for Peloton to go in there and say, you know what? What company haven't I chosen yet? Walmart. Dudes. Sign up your 200,000 employees with us, and we'll give you app membership at cost plus 5%. And you can charge your employees whatever you want. But we just want to get them on the platform and get hooked because Peloton is a great product. Why not incrementally get them in or charge near full retail? These wellness programs, generally, there's a discount from what you and I see as consumers. $19.99 an app, they're paying like $16.99 an app because that's the deal. Walmart made with Peloton, Peloton made with Walmart. We don't hear about this, and analysts don't ask about it. Languishing. Whassup International. International. We're in the 5 regions we're in. Hardware and app. And not even, hardware is not even universally available. Right now, the Row is still only available in America. But let's just take an average and just say those 5 countries have everything, even though it's not true. We know Foley wanted to do this because there are literally like 60 countries, 60 countries with trademarks for Peloton. And they were all filed in those pandemic years when everyone thought there was nothing but green fields ahead. And then the green fields ended and we ended up in a nuclear winter of connected fitness at Peloton. In February, Barry, I think these are mostly Barry, there might be one Liz quote in here. In February, Barry said, I hope in the next 3 months, February, March, April, May. We're past May. Secret. We're in August. So between you and me, we've passed May. In the next 3 months. Well, we go to the other side of the screen, and here we are in May, and we got people talking. Well, Barry and or Liz talking about, well, provide opportunities. What are those 4,000 people doing? Oh, you so frustrated. We're going to launch Row internationally in the markets, maybe. I don't know. Maybe another 3 months. Didn't say that, but. Deploying an asset-light model, the app, code word for app, is much easier to launch internationally. Fine. I'm okay with that. Peloton, you stink at logistics. We understand that. And it's not that you stink, it's that shipping a 300-pound treadmill is not fun. Okay, nor is it easy, nor is it inexpensive. I get it. And a 60-pound bike in a, 100-pound row, I don't know what the row weighs. What app? How hard is it to launch app in another nation? It must be ridiculously hard. It must be amazingly, fantastically, supercalifragilistically hard to launch an app in somewhere other than the United States because we're still not there. Peloton was founded in 2014. We are in 2023, year 2 of Barry, and we are no further along than where we were when Barry went in day 1. And it's an app. He says right here, deploying, no big deal. Apparently it is a big deal. Apparently it's a major big deal. And here he is talking about his baby, Whass. Whass is ripe for international expansion, the rent-a-bike thing. Ripe. It's not ripe. I don't think the seed has even been planted from what is visible to us as members and investors. Yeah. What up, Precor? What up, Precor? Peloton bought Precor. What is it, 600 million? The years meshed together when you followed this company for so long. How it started. Precor has decades of experience designing and engineering cardio strength devices. We're going to work with them to create the next generation of connected. No, that did not happen. And this was under Foley. And then under Barry, there were rumors, and he said the worst kept secret. This is February. Love what happened in February. That was a bad time for the stock. The worst kept secret on the planet is that we've been exploring the sale of Precor. What went from Precor is the most valuable asset that Peloton has for future growth. 2, we're going to sell this pig. And then it changed even further to, this is now a third-party article reporting on what happened. Next was we went from loving this thing to hating it and we want to dump it, to this third-party article from FitTech said Peloton has called a stop to its disastrous attempt to rebrand Precor's Peloton commercial. It is now simply a wholly owned subsidiary of Peloton, and seemingly their sales are off. So loved it, bought it. Hate it, want to sell it, want to dump it. 2, we're going to keep it, but we're just going to let Precor be Precor. Forget about calling it Peloton commercial. It just didn't work out. And then we're seeing a news article from Precor here. Precor's closing has 2 plants. Had 2 plants. One, I think, in North Carolina, which this one is, and one in Seattle. And they said they're going to close their Whassup, which is, I think it's North Carolina one. And now they're just down to the one in Seattle. Precor has not ended up well. So what's up? What are we going to do? Are we just going to keep changing our mind every few months? What's up, Tonic Fitness? Peloton bought this many moons ago. Again, Foley era. Not only did they buy this Taiwan people who were manufacturing the bike under contract as a third party, they said, we love it so much and we see the growth path so much that we're simply going to buy Tonic and Tonic Fitness. And Peloton bought them. Not only did they buy them, they built from scratch this gorgeous facility. I mean, that is a gorgeous facility, brand spanking new. Analysts, you never ask about Tonic Fitness. Is this a for sale asset? Is this now a fully owned subsidiary doing its own thing? Have they reverted from going from third party under Tonic to wholly owned from and producing 100% Peloton equipment? Are they now returning to a third-party contract model where echelons are being built in this factory? Is this factory even populated with people, or is it empty floors? Bathrooms never used. We don't know because no one's asking about it, and this is a lot of money sitting on the table. You want to talk about, are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. We're going to talk about the other thing. A lot of money sitting on the table here in a second. But my gosh, why is no one asking about Tonic Fitness? I think Peloton enjoys the fact that analysts don't ask them about these things. They revel in it. You're going to ask about margins, aren't you? You're going to ask about currency headwinds, aren't you? You're going to ask about my baby Whass and what percentage of sales they are, aren't you? I love all these questions. I have answers to them that I want to give you. Thank you so much for asking me for not asking me questions that I don't want to answer. Get real. Fast is slow, understanding the understandable. Read the memo, people. Next area with, again, I don't know what this color is. It's fluorescent. Abandonment. Poor Oh, I forgot his name. Whatever his name is, you guys know it. Elf guy. Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell. Glad I got that. That would have been bugging me. He was abandoned by the North Pole. They kicked him out. And now you can say, hey, who wants me now? Well, Peloton doesn't want you because this is what they've abandoned. Showrooms abandoned. Here we are. This is when this. I don't have a date on this. This is, I think, a month prior, so June. D-list 56 and still open around 70. Not only that, that wasn't enough to purge half the retail space. They had to rub salt in the wound. And here we have an article from Pello Buddy. Peloton sales team, the people who service you at the retail showrooms, will no longer work on commission and take pay cuts. God bless those folks. Frontline people. It's hard to have any quibble with frontline people who are doing the real work. It's sad to see. Here was the other one. My mom money sitting on the table. Peloton Outlook Park, a theoretical investment of up to $400 million to build this enormous, by any measure, Amazon, Walmart, any measure, production facility, warehouse logistics facility. They were going to spend up to $400 million. We don't know how much they exactly spent. I would say probably about $150, $200 million to build the structure, to buy the land, to get all the permitting in place. Now it's simply an empty shell. It was never completely fitted out. There's no certificate of occupancy for this thing. And they've been trying to sell it. And we keep getting hints from Peloton headquarters that negotiations are underway. It's taking a little bit longer than necessary. Peloton needs the money. This is a dead asset. This is not making any money. This is losing some amount of money just on taxes and loans they took out. They took out a loan just for this building to the $400 million to make this project work. It didn't happen. It was abandoned. And we don't need to dwell on that. It's terrible. We should dwell on it because it's $400 million. Peloton needs every dollar it can find. But we're not going to dwell on it. We got other things. Doing a skim overview as much as Bob Treemore can do it. I can't control my passion about this company and my passion to want to see it succeed. And that leads me down these rabbit holes. I so badly want it to succeed because when Peloton succeeds, citizens succeed in making themselves healthier. And there's a whole thing about my personal life that I can bring in here. I'm not going to. Peloton inspired me to do some things. Peloton inspired me to change my life, like drastically. My family's life, drastically. Because I believed in the company's mission to make America and the other countries healthier, to bring fitness to a new level. And Connected Fitness really should have done that. And it makes me so sad. And that's why you hear some of the frustration in my voice. It's not just venting. This is not fake me carrying on. This makes me sad to see where Peloton is and where it should be or could be. But because of Meh-xecution, this is where we're at. And I'm disappointed. To every blood corpuscle in my body, I am disappointed in Peloton's execution to their mission and to making Americans healthier and finding an easy pathway to do so. I want everyone to live to 100. I want to see people seeing not only their children, I want to see them seeing their grandchildren, I want to see them seeing their great-grandchildren, and I want to see them on the outside side seeing their great-great-grandchildren. And fitness is what gets you there, not unhealthy lifestyles. I'm going on. Where are we? Twitter abandonment. Okay. New CMO came online, replacing Derek Tresutter. Apologize if I'm not saying that right. We have Leslie Berland who is former Twitter, and Twitter obviously went through some recent changes, and she is a result of those recent changes. She was a CMO there. She's now the CMO at Peloton. Around that same time of her joining Peloton, Leslie apparently instructs, she's a chief marketing officer. No one higher than her on the marketing food chain. They've stopped using Twitter. Is she sacrificing the success of the company because there's a chip on her shoulder about losing her job at Twitter? Is she sacrificing the welfare of the company that's paying her because she has a chip on her shoulder from being let go from Twitter because she doesn't like the new guy? Is that where we're at? Someone who's being paid millions of dollars a year to run the marketing efforts for Peloton and the fluorescent colors and the rebrand. And she can't have an employee spend 30 seconds to write a 180 character tweet about Peloton lane break and put a link in. 30 seconds free. I'm not talking about paid advertising on Twitter. I would have nothing. If she doesn't want to do paid advertising on Twitter, whatever. Go to where you think the rich markets are for paid advertising. Their corporate account has 223,000 followers. Their corporate account, meaning when Peloton tweets on Twitter, potentially they could reach 223,000 people. When was the last tweet from Peloton's account? May. It is August 1st. The last tweet was May 25th about a recall notice. They've left the platform. They've abandoned it. Is it due to pride? Or is it due to something else? Because this literally costs nothing on your corporate account to say, we just rolled out a new modality, gym. It's fantastic. Try it. Here's a link to read more about it. We just launched lane break for tread. It's fantastic. Here's a link. Read more about it. Barry McCarthy just ate strawberry ice cream. It's fantastic. You'll love it. Read more about it. Nothing. Radio silence. They've left Twitter. They've left 250,000 people in the dust for no reason. 30 seconds it takes to write a 180 character tweet and put in a link. $0. I'm not talking about paid advertising, your corporate account. And what else do we have on Twitter? Well, what don't we have on Twitter? Barry McCarthy. John Foley was at least on Twitter. He didn't do a whole lot there. And the times he did generally were not great. Barry McCarthy is not even there. I made this graphic up myself. This is a pretend graphic. He does not exist on Twitter. You can't reach him. He can't reach you. The CEO of Peloton. Members first, people. Members first. Get real. Understand the understoodable. He's not there to individually reach out and touch people. Potential customers, existing members. It's beneath him. I hate to put things in people's I don't want to give these people Brussels sprouts on their plates if they don't like Brussels sprouts. But the fact is, I don't know that these two individuals don't like Brussels sprouts, so I'm putting it on their plate and waiting for them to respond to me. Because it sure looks like Barry is avoiding Twitter, and Leslie Berland is avoiding Twitter for reasons that seem, I've said enough. If May 25th, the last tweet, about a recall. Just abandoning 250,000 customers. What else did they abandon? Their short format stuff. I want to spend as little time here as possible. They had some short format, meaning it's not just like a ride or they tried to put semi-scripted programming things together instead of just a live ride where, hey, move up your cadence or move down your cadence. No, these are invited guests or a scripted question answer format or I've got tips and tricks for you type format. I'm aware that they did 4 short forms. They did the LOL Cody, the Future Selves with Ashton Kutcher. On the leaderboard, I think it was mostly Olivia who did on the leaderboard where they do, there's also, you can see kind of in the background, Usain Bolt was one of the guests where they would treadmill opposite each other while Olivia was asking, Usain, when did you start running? And Tunde did Fitness Flip podcast, and I think that started and ended I think all these started and ended within a brief short. I'm actually thankful Peloton abandoned this because they were so poor at it. I'm sure there's a set of people who really enjoyed it, and me to them, more power to you. Me objectively looking and trying out all these four, I was like, not great. An effort was made. Strength abandonment. I said we'd get to this later, and I'm not going to spend again. I have a whole video on this. I didn't put another. I keep forgetting to put tiles. Peloton was going to. This is real patents. They had it's hard to tell whether, I'm sure it was started in John Foley and maybe kind of sort of continued a little bit with Barry until Barry killed it. But they had a strength platform akin to Vitruvian or Arena, and Barry said, we just can't do it right now. Barry, we talked about those few growth paths available to you. International. Wellness, because what you have is not working. So we have international growth path. Excuse me, wellness growth path. I'm starting to go on and on. Strength growth path. Don't talk to me about guide. I think I say that every single video. Please don't talk to me about guide. Guide is not a strength device. Peloton does not have a strength device. They abandoned this. Are they working on something new? I don't know. It's one of my things I don't like about Peloton is they don't tell you jack, because Barry's not on Twitter and Barry doesn't like to communicate. And analysts don't ask the right question. Analysts, time to take out your notebook. This is one of those slides. Take out your notebook. Row handle, I covered this. These are obviously all my tweets. I generally am on the leading edge, if not the leading edge, breaking these stories. The row, there's a whole video on that. The advanced handle for row is who knows? Apparently it's abandoned. Next section. Riddle me this. Jim Carrey. I say Jim Carrey, not because you don't know, but because I struggled with Will Ferrell, and now I feel like I have to overcompensate. Jim Carrey. Riddle me this. Tread a wall. Oh, and we have a new fluorescent color. Good. Rebranding is a joy. Tread plus. Let's just go on. Let's keep going. Self-assembly for Amazon. Again, another tweet from me. I was, as far as I know, first person to see the self-assembly. Before, self-assembly is used by Amazon. So Amazon became a partner because of self-assembly. You can't ship a fully assembled bike. Before self-assembly, Peloton vans or what have you had to come out, XPO or JB Hunt, and set this thing up in your house, because only those people knew how to do it and do it correctly. Back in August 2022, it seems like it should be much longer, but that's really where we are. Caesar self-assembly. Caesar's a code word for row, for the rower device. We saw Caesar self-assembly. And we still have not yet seen row self-assembly because it needs to be on Amazon. It's one of those things, again, Whassup? Analysts, why isn't row self-assembly? You guys, we need to be friends. Let's go out for a drink. I don't drink, but I get a Coke. There was row self-assembly in there. We know that there's bike self-assembly because it's shipped and sold on Amazon. But that means Amazon is missing out. That channel is missing out on row. Tread, I don't think it's ever going to be self-assembly. It's a 300-pound machine. It doesn't seem realistic that Tread is ever going to be a self-assembled device. One product. Still price fixing. It seems like there should be some kind of lyric somewhere. Still price fixing. This is news. It's just from Pello Buddy. This came out just the other day. Peloton announced that they're going to lower the price of the Tread by $500 and the row by $200. I actually did another video on this one. Well, not this specific thing, but I used the chutes and ladders analogy in the aisle misfit toys, where I talk about Peloton raises prices, they lower prices. It raises prices, they lower prices. Raise the price, they lower prices. It's going to sound trite. My answer to this is, and it goes back to when I was talking about, I hate, it hurts me to take yet off the end of a sentence and just now ending the sentence on kind of a negative. So it's going to sound trite when I say this, but I fear this is too little, too late. Too little price decrease, much too late. Okay, this is the last section. We're almost through. Those who've hung around still, I don't know what kind of minute we're at, but God bless you. And you do what exactly? These two guys? These people, I don't know their names. No clue. But it's from Office Space. It's kind of a, after all the exciting things, I don't know, very fruitful, data-filled, data-rich things that we've covered. This is probably the least data-rich and least objective. I probably shouldn't have ended with this, but this is where we're going to end. Section of what we're doing today. And what do you do exactly? What are you Meh-xecuting in your office? Because you're Meh-xecuting. No, I got very few executors. Founded in September 2020. So we are almost literally 3 years into the Peloton Health and Wellness Advisory Council. I'm not calling these people out, but they're a bunch of doctors of various specialties. I don't expect everyone who's watching this video to like be digging for information on what did the Peloton Health and Wellness Advisory Council, what did they advise today or this month, this quarter, this year? Got anything? Is there a press release about what these 5 people who are sucking salaries are doing? And the answer is, from all outward, objective research activity, nothing. Paying these people salaries. Been on staff, I guess, the page is still active, for 3 years. To the best of my ability, not a single press release, not a single mention on a call, not a single shout out on a ride or a walk or a run. I have a feeling one of these folks probably helped with the prenatal classes, but no one would know that because this Health and Wellness Advisory Council are a bunch of salary suckers from outward evidence. And this seemed like a great idea. On staff have 5 highly degreed doctors advising and directing future efforts. And let's see what kind of results and research they bring to the table. Nothing. Nothing. Last slide. This is it. We're done. Board of Directors. So we're in year 2 of Barry. In my opinion, year 2 is not going swimmingly to my expectations. Maybe Barry thinks it's going great, and maybe it is. Maybe they report in like 2 or 3 weeks from now their quarterly earnings for the business to Wall Street. And maybe they're going to blow us all away and say, gosh, we doubled our membership, and we've got 18 countries lined up to deploy next week. And the one wellness thing, we can't hire enough people to staff it all. Analysts. Meanwhile, the people who are responsible for hiring well, yeah, no one really hired John Foley, but they administered, oversaw John Foley, and now oversee the only boss that Barry has conceivably is the board of directors and himself. He could retire whenever his contract allows him to retire. He has two bosses, himself and the board of directors. So, from my perspective, year 2 of Barry is not panning out the way I would like it to. And these are the people, other than Barry McCarthy himself, and of course all the decision makers. I'm using Barry as kind of a corporate boogeyman. There are many players in the C-suite. We just replace all my references to Barry with just C-suite. The CEO, the CMO, the COO, all those people. When I say C, that's what that means. So we've got the board of directors as listed on the page. I'm not going to, by name, I don't care who these people are. We've got a former president of Restoration Hardware. Okay, I can buy that. That seems like a good board director person. Yeah, chairman, whatever. She is chairperson. Sorry. We've got a venture capitalist. No. We're in year 10 of Peloton. I was tempted to call him by his name, but I don't know who this guy is. The answer is no. No. We've got the next fella. Venture capitalist. No. No, 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 no. Got a supply chain geek. Thumbs up. Okay, we got a former restoration hardware president and a supply chain geek. They kind of let their supply chain go for the most part. I'm not sure they still need this geek, supply chain geek. I say that. I was a supply chain geek, so I say that with affinity. So we got this guy, marketing. 2 VCs and a marketer. We didn't go on and on. I could have given you another 20 minutes about Peloton's new rebranding and marketing efforts. I didn't do that. I chose not to do that. I have thoughts. But let me tell you this. If this gentleman, is aligned with the current ad efforts that are being pushed out by the current CMO, I think Peloton is selling themselves short, and I don't like it. So no. Yes. Yes. No. 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 Endless. And we've got the last. Oh, yeah. This has to be the biggest travesty of them all. Again, nothing personal against this individual. Never met her. I would probably love her if we met. Her CV, her resume, as she runs a series of luxury lifestyle publications. That is her authority on the board. Peloton is no longer a luxury brand. It cannot be considered a luxury. Maybe, I'm sure some people consider it a luxury brand. I do not. Everything Peloton sells is a commodity to me now, and simply who has the best commodity wins. There was a time when the Peloton connected fitness devices were luxury items. They are no longer. We do not need a luxury lifestyle publication person. So these board directors is the only people who can hold Barry and the C-suite accountable. Restoration Hardware president seems reasonable. I don't know anything about any of these people. I'm just going off the titles and their CVs. Okay. Supply chain geek, not excited, but okay. VC, no. VC, no. Marketing, no. Luxury lifestyle publicationer, no. 2/3 of the board is I almost said something I would probably regret. 2/3 of the board is not something I would advise to them being there. Leave it at that. And with that, I will say overall, year one Barry, year two Barry, all combined together. And where we are at present day, August 1st, 2:11 p.m. EST. Peloton is Meh-xecuting. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.